Hello and welcome to Sir classes. Today the tutorial will be on MCQ on microeconomics. The topic is demand and supply. In case of any query, you can contact us on this particular number and we are available online. Our website is www.sorosirclasses@gmail.com. Let us start. Now the first question asks us, demand for a commodity refers to. Now, demand for a commodity. Demand refers to the quantity of commodity demanded that consumers are willing and able to purchase at a certain price during any particular period of time. This is generally what we've put forward as the definition of demand for a commodity. So, keeping in mind this definition, our answer will be D. Contraction is the result of, so let us check, it is decrease in the number of consumers, increase in the price of the good concerned, increase in the prices of other goods, or decrease in the income of purchases. Actually, contraction of demand is the result of increase in price of a good concern, and therefore the answer will be B. The third question asks us, all but one of the following is assumed to remain the same while drawing an individual demand curve for a commodity. Which one it is? Now, the answer will be price. Why? Because only one, that is price, changes. All other, like price of related good, income, taste, and say preferences, remain constant while drawing an individual demand curve for a commodity. Okay, so the answer is C. Now, which of the following pair of good is an example of substitute? Substitute means a good will be substitute when you consume. X and Y will be substitute when X will satisfy same type of want or desire. Okay, so if it satisfies the same type of want, so in place of Y you can always consume X. Keeping this in mind, we can clearly say that tea and coffee are example of substitutes, because if tea is not available, you can have coffee and it will satisfy the same type of want. Now, in the case of a straight line demand curve meeting the two axes, the price elasticity of demand at the midpoint of the line will be B. Why? Because under point method, let me write, under point method, the formula used is lower segment by upper segment. Okay, lower segment by upper segment, and midpoint of the line on demand curve elasticity hence will be equal to 1. So the answer is B. Next, the law of demand assuming other things remaining constant, another word for this is ceteris paribus, establish the relationship between price of a good and quantity demanded, because these are the two which you are measuring on the two axes. Here you measure QD and here you measure P. So when you get the demand curve, so this is the relation you get. I'm really sorry for the trouble. So next we move on to question number 7. The question says, identify the factor which generally keeps the price elasticity of demand for a good low. Now, generally very low price good have low price elasticity. So low price and low price elasticity, and variety of uses, close substitute and higher proportion of consumer income have more elasticity. So low price good has low elasticity. So the answer will be B. Identify the coefficient of price elasticity of demand when the percentage increase in quantity demand of a good demanded is smaller than the percentage fall in its price. Now, the answer will be to this is C. Why? Because price elasticity of demand is given by the formula percentage change in Q and percentage change in P. And there will be a minus sign because both are moving in opposite direction. So when percentage change in Q is smaller than percentage change in price elasticity of demand will be less than 1. Okay. Next. In the case of an inferior good, the income elasticity of demand is negative. Why? Because in case of inferior good, we actually get an inverse relation between demand for inferior good and income. So demand and income, that is means the quantity demanded and income shares an inverse relation. Okay, that's why this is the very definition of inferior good, and therefore the option C will be correct. Next, if the demand for a good is inelastic, an increase in its price will cause the total expenditure of the consumer of the goods to, the answer will be B. Why? Let us check. Since the demand for the good is inelastic, that means say inelastic is this. Okay, so less than 1. It means there is a direct relationship between price and total expenditure. So price and total expenditure, direct relation. Okay. Thus, with the increase in price, the total expenditure will also increase, given the direct relation. Next. If regardless of the changes in its price, the quantity demanded of a good remains unchanged, then the demand curve. So, the catch is there is a change in price, but the quantity demand of the good remains unchanged. Then the demand curve for the good will be vertical. Why? Because in this case, the curve is perfectly inelastic. The demand curve is perfectly inelastic. So E is equal to 0, and therefore it will be vertical. The law of demand is a qualitative statement. Why? Because it only explains the trend of the law of demand, and tendency always treated it is showing a trend, and whenever there is a trend involved, it is treated as a qualitative statement. Okay. Number 13. Are the following are determinants of demand except B, because quantity supply doesn't come in question when we are talking about demand. So the answer will be B. A movement along the demand curve for soft drink is best described as a change in the quantity demanded, because we have movement along the demand curve. Okay, so this is movement along, that you move from point A to point B. Okay, so it is movement along the demand curve and there is a change in quantity demanded. 15. If the price of Pepsi decreases relative to the price of Coke and 7-Up, the demand for Coke and 7-Up will decrease. Why? Because Pepsi, Coke and 7-Up are substitute good and there is a positive relation between demand and price of a substitute good. So, hence, decrease in the price of Pepsi, demand for Coke and 7-Up also decreases. If a good is a luxury goods, we need to comment on the income elasticity of demand. So, if a good is a luxury good, the income elasticity of demand will be positive and greater than 1. Why? Because there is a direct relationship between demand and income of the consumer in case of luxury good. Thus, income elasticity of demand for luxury good is positive. Okay, so income elasticity is positive. Hence, the elasticity of demand is positive and greater than 1. The next question is, the price of hot dogs increases by 22% and the quantity of hot dogs demanded falls by 25%. This indicates that the demand for hot dog is, let us do it with the help of price elasticity formula, which is given by this percentage change in quantity and percentage change in price. So change is 25% and 22%. Now let me keep it in mod. So we get 1.13. So it is greater than 1. Since it is greater than 1, the good is elastic. Okay. If the quantity demanded of beef increases by 5% when the prices of chicken increases by 20%, the cross price elasticity of demand between beef and chicken is, so let us calculate, it is percentage change in QX, say this is beef, and percentage change in PY, which is for price of chicken. Okay, so it is 5% and 20%. So we get 0.25, which is a plus. We are getting cross price elasticity as plus, so the answer will be B. Okay. Question number 19. Given the following 4 possibility, which one result in an increase in total consumer expenditure? Now, the answer to this will be D. Demand is inelastic and price rises. Why? Because when there is an increase in total expenditure, there will be two effects on prices. Okay, if price rises, then demand is inelastic, and if price falls, then demand is elastic. In the present case, when total expenditure increases, then demand will inelastic with rise in price, because there is a direct relationship between price and total expenditure. The price elasticity of demand for hamburger is, now let us see the options. So whether it is option A, that the change in quantity demand of hamburger when hamburger increases by 30 paisa per rupee, or B, C or D. Now the answer to this is B. Why? That is the percentage increase in quantity demanded of hamburger when price of hamburger falls by 1% per rupee. Why this is so? Because the price elasticity of demand for hamburger is the percentage increase in quantity demanded of hamburger when the price of hamburger falls by 1% per rupee. Okay. Now, The price elasticity of demand is defined as the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price. This is known by the very definition of price elasticity of demand.